opening ceremony. First, we will listen to Bugil Orchestra perform the song A Whole New World. As many of you may already know, the song presents the visions for the future in line with the theme of this year's IYLF. Please welcome them to the stage with a big round of applause. The performance will feature two singers, Choi and Arram, both seniors in the Bugil Academy Global Leaders Program. Last but not least, the orchestra will be conducted by Christina Yeojin Choi, a sophomore at the Global Leaders Program.
and Choi, for your wonderful performance.
So much silence. How are you guys enjoying the opening ceremony? Yeah. Let's hear some answers. We need some time to clean this thing up for our guest speaker, so please be patient. Thank you very much. A lot of emotion. Sorry. So now moving on, we have two special guests who are here today to welcome each and every delegate participating in this year's IYLF. The first speaker is Mr. Arram, the Senior Project Organization Manager of the Education Team for the Pyeongchang Committee for the Olympic and Paralympic Games. He's also in charge of the Youth Outreach for the International Olympic Committee. Please welcome Mr. Arram Kim to the stage with a big round of applause.
Looks different from up here. Hi guys, my name is Arram and I'm actually currently working for the Pyeongchang Olympic Committee. I guess it's really difficult to actually say the full name of where I work, but I'll try it. It's the Pyeongchang Organizing Committee for the 2018 Olympic, Winter and Paralympic Games. And I currently work for the education team and I'm in charge of youth outreach and also just education in general on the importance of sport and Olympic values and peace through sports and all this other stuff. And also, in games time, I'm actually a bobsleigh and skeleton international jury member, which is basically like being a judge for the bobsleigh skeleton event. And during the Olympic Games, I will be the race director for the skeleton event. So if you guys ever come to Pyeongchang and watch the skeleton, I will be up top, probably stressed out. So anyway, guys, I thought long and hard about what to speak to you guys today about. And you probably guessed from my accent, you know I'm from Australia. So I guess the big question a lot of people ask is, how is a Korean Australian that grew up in Australia, where there is no snow, never freezes, saw snow for the first time when I was 18, end up working for the Winter Olympics. So I just want to give you a little story. I know I've been in your situation before 20 years ago, sitting down listening to some random guy up here. And I remember sitting down thinking, when is this guy going to finish? So I promise it will be short, but hopefully you can learn something from my experience, and we'll go from there. So, first, this is me. This is me when I was, I think, 9 years old. So I was born in 1980, 37 years old right now. When I was 4 years old, I actually immigrated to Australia. To be honest, my family has lived in Australia for over 60 years. But my parents kind of moved back to Korea, and I was born and I was here for 4 years and we moved back. So And I was very privileged. I was very lucky. I actually went to one of the best high schools in Australia. And like, it was, my parents had a successful business, so I was given a lot of opportunities. It's very similar to what you guys have here now. And today I want to discuss about some of the missed opportunities I had, and then some of the opportunities that I later had that I grabbed hold on to that led me to be here now. So just basic things here. I'm actually used to be an ex-rugby athlete, so in Australia. I know Brisbane Grammar is not here today, but my school was actually very competitive with them when I was in high school. So we actually visited them a few times and played a few times. We won every time we played. They're not here now, but... and then I actually went to... I did not go to college in Sydney. I actually went to Australia, to Boston. So I went to Boston University, and I probably made the first big mistake of my life, not going to Boston, sorry, was the major I chose. I actually majored in microbiology. It shows, doesn't it? It's because my parents were kind of strange. They were not typical Asian parents, as in they made me play rugby. And the reason was because I was kind of tiny, and they thought that I'll have a hard time in school, I'll get bullied. So they made me play a lot of sport. The one sport that really stuck with me was rugby. I was really good at it. I went to the higher levels. Eventually got injured, but then that's another story. But anyway, went to Boston University. Had a good time in college. College is great. But the major wasn't so great. So anyway. In 2002, I actually came back to Korea for the first time. That was actually the first time I came to Korea. And that was because of the 2002 World Cup. With my rugby background, you probably noticed that I really enjoy sport. And it's been a hobby of mine ever since I stopped playing competitive rugby. I still played at a club and just at a social level, and many other sports as well. So, World Cup. I actually missed the '88 Seoul Olympics because I was in Korea. And I missed the 2000 Sydney Olympics. I'm from Sydney because I was in America. And I was like, I'm not going to miss the World Cup. For the non-Koreans here, most Korean males have to go to the military. Back when I was there, it was 26 months. Now I think it's 18 months. For me, I didn't have to go because I was Australian. But after the World Cup, I thought, why not? It's an experience. So I actually, there's nothing to talk about. So I said, why not? Let's give it a try. And I thought they were going to pay me. I had no knowledge. But then they gave me $20 and I was like, oh, okay. That's not something I was expecting. I volunteered for the Korean military, was an air traffic controller, because of my English. And then after that, I actually started my first job, and it was at corporate education. So my job for about 10 years was talking, coaching CEOs and just other high-ranking Korean companies about how to bring their business overseas, how to deal with foreign workers. Just how to hold meetings in a Western setting. So I worked in the corporate education business for about 10 years. Happy time, great, made a lot of money, but wasn't really happy. Because I guess, I don't know, I just felt bored. But anyway, from there, in 2014, I actually became the first Korean bobsleigh and skeleton jury member. And then in 2015, I quit my job and then I started working for the Pyeongchang Olympic Committee. So that's a lot of topics here, but I just want to focus on three things really. First, I want to talk about my rugby experience, because a lot of people, especially in Korea, they feel that sport and academics and life, it doesn't really, there's this very negative perception about athletes. And I just want to tell you that, look, you can learn a lot of things from sport. I've personally learned a lot from playing sport, and it's made me who I am today. So I just want to talk to you about some benefits I had. And then I want to talk about my philosophy of life, which is, I guess, called experience, and how experience is really important for you guys, and that trying something, even if you don't like it, can lead to better things. So, let's get started. First, let's talk about sport. So, I played competitive rugby. In Australia, rugby is like a religion, less so than New Zealand. In New Zealand, it's crazy. So, just to give you an example, in my school, in one grade, so if you're in grade 7, there will be 8 rugby teams in one grade. And that's common in a lot of schools. So it's all ranked, like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. And it's all ranked. If you do good, you go up a level. If you do bad, you go down a level. It's very competitive.